Joink, beep, beep. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this thing that we like to call Northern News Now Plus on the Northern News Now Plus app. I'm your host for the duration of the stream here, Matt Rasmussen, a.k.a. the King of Halloween, a.k.a. Local filmmaker, a.k.a. host of Movie Mondays with Matt. And if you see what we have here today, it's going to be Christmas Vacation. First, I got to point this out. This is the brand new graphic I've come up with for this amazing streaming show, and then for the morning part as well. I'll tell you a little bit more about all this. I designed this myself. It's like a kind of a mishmash of all my favorite things that have happened over the years and some of my favorite episodes from the show so far. It only took 22 episodes of this show to finally get that, but hey, we're doing it. We're learning. We're figuring these things out. So thanks for tuning into the stream, by the way. And so, yes, today the flick of the week is Christmas Vacation, the 1989 comedy Christmas family classic starring Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo. If you're like me, you watch this film with your family every year. This is a classic for us. It's not Christmas until we watch this film. You know what? We'll get more into Christmas Vacation in just a bit and why I chose that one, and there's other re-releases and things coming out. First, let's talk a little bit about the box office numbers before we get into all that fun stuff. So, let's pull this up here. Just a second, where's the video here? Is this it? This might be it. Yes, it is. All right, video. All right, beep, 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 beep. There we go. Okay, so, number one, Now You See Me, Now You Don't isn't giving up yet. The Magician Heist threequel made $3.5 million for fifth place. Then, the anime compilation Jujutsu Kaisen Execution opened in fourth place with $10.2 million. Then, Wicked for Good fell to third place, adding $16.8 million for a domestic total of $297 million. Wow, I'm talking too fast for the video here. Here's Wicked. Okay, now, Zootopia 2 lost the top spot, but it took in $43 million for a 12-day domestic total of $220 million. Then lastly, the animatronics have left the pizza parlor. The horror sequel, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, debuted strong with $63 million. We're not even on the video for that one yet. Well, here's Zootopia 2, and there we go. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I saw this one opening night, and I had a lot of mixed feelings about it. I thought it was okay. I thought the first film was just okay. I thought after watching the first film, well, there's plenty of room for improvement for the next one, and so I was really hoping that they would have improved, you know, with the next one here. All right, this video is going to time out in just a second. Here we go. We'll keep it on this slate as we get into the next thing here. Let's just go back to cam here before I get into this whole thing. All right, beep, beep, beep. Okay. So, yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I thought it was okay. You know, I'm not the target demographic for it. I'm not one of these young gamer kids that grew up with the games. I played the games a little bit. They're okay. I get their appeal. The movie adaptation of it, you know, it was all right. There's some good people in there. Matthew Lillard is amazing, and I like Josh Hutcherson. And, you know, low-key, that was going to be my flick of the week. I teased ahead. I said it's going to be a horror film last week, and that was the plan. Then I was looking at it, and I was thinking about it, and after I watched Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I was like, you know, I'm kind of wishy-washy on it. I'm like, I don't know how excited I can get about doing an episode on that, and I tried writing some stuff, and there aren't a lot of memorable quotes and puns and things I could mine from, and so I was like, should I really be like forcing an episode on Five Nights at Freddy's 2, or should I lean into Christmas again and talk about the big screen re-releases that are coming out this week? And you know what? That's what won out. I was going to do Christmas Vacation like the following week, but bumping it up to this week helps because now that frees open something for next week, which will be related, and that's just the better route to go. So You're welcome. I'm doing Christmas Vacation instead of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Quick another little thing about Five Nights at Freddy's 2. You know, again, I thought it was okay. One of my big complaints is that the script is kind of all over the place. It's rushed. It's a rushed movie, and you can tell. And that's, you know, that's kind of a problem. It's a bit of a, hey, what up there? Anyway, Madison, you derailed my train of thought. Yeah, go ahead. I don't know if everyone can hear it. Yeah, we're live now.
Everybody, I'm so sorry to derail. It's like the Christmas Vacation. Doesn't go as planned.
It never, yeah, and that's why we love that movie so much. Yeah, there's all kinds of little things. What do you think of my graphic?
People pop up that go, oh, that looks great.
Not bad, huh?
Not bad, yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna show everybody like what it all means and what it all is. And
anyway, sorry, when you walked in, you were talking about the script was rushed.
Thank you. Yes. God bless you. Yes. So, as Madison can attest, I was gonna talk about Five Nights at Freddy's 2 this morning, but decided, you know, the much more solid film is, of course, Christmas Vacation. So anyway, yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, it was rushed, and they underutilized the characters. There are 3 new characters they introduced that are horror vets that I was very excited to see them have screen time. First of all, McKenna Grace, who's one of my absolute favorites. She's been in a million horror movies. She's in the new Ghostbusters movies as the female lead. She's amazing. Unfortunately underutilized in this movie. She doesn't get as much screen time as you'd like, and you can tell her character's quite underdeveloped. Next, Wayne Knight, who is also horror royalty. He's in Jurassic Park. He's Dennis Nedry. He's the one stealing the embryos and all of that, Seinfeld, everything. Very iconic guy. Very underutilized. His character is a one-note character, and his motivation doesn't really even make sense. So, and again, he didn't get much screen time, and it was just disappointing what they did with him. Lastly, the big one, Skeet Ulrich is in this movie. And if you know him, he's from Scream. Billy Loomis, one of the original killers, who is also in a movie with one of the original killers again from Scream, Matthew Lillard. Those two back in the same film for the first time, I believe, since Scream. This should have been amazing, a huge deal. They should have had screen time together. They don't. Sorry to say, there's no screen time together with those two. And, you know, Skeet Ulrich is a little underutilized in this too. He kind of just has one scene, and he's cut short, and then it moves on to something else. And the movie just kind of jumps around and has all these mishmashed, half-baked ideas. And it never seemed to land on something that told you it's going in one direction, you know? So anyway, it's good for kids. I'm sure kids won't care because they lean deep into, you know, the lore of the games. And at times you feel like you're watching a video game. And they bring in a lot of stuff, you know, from the video games. But then the issue with that is it didn't translate too well for a film. So kids are going to love it. Obviously they do because it's #1 at the box office. And another minor complaint I had is they kept teasing ahead to part 3. They kept setting things up, and it was getting distracting. And it's like they're spending too much time trying to set up part 3, and they're not focusing on part 2, which clearly needed the attention. So, you know, and it's fine. The visuals are fine, and, you know, I feel like they needed more drafts of that script, and they needed to not rush it so much. And I know they wanted to get it out there because, you know, strike while the iron's hot, you know, the new generation, you know, the attention spans, let's get it out there while they're thinking about it. Also, there's a bunch of kids in the cast, and I'm sure they wanted to move forward quickly before they start to age too quickly. So anyway, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is fine. You know, I would say don't feel like you have to rush out and watch it right away. You know, it was cool to see it opening night though, because a lot of people were dressed up in costumes, and that was cool. So again, it was an experience, but it wasn't for me. It was for fans of the games. So anyway, enough of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I've talked too much about that. Let's talk about Christmas Vacation now. what is there to say about Christmas Vacation? It's one of the greatest holiday films of all time. Like I said, it's something that my family and I watch every year. We have to watch Christmas Vacation. It's not Christmas until you see it. There's something for everybody in this movie because we can all relate to getting together with your family for the holidays and the chaos that ensues when that happens. And there are other Christmas films out there that have that kind of premise, but this one is just pure insanity, and it's great. It's endlessly quotable is the other thing. So let's go right back to the full page graphic I had up a couple minutes ago here. And these are the big screen holiday re-releases that are opening this week around here. So we'll take a quick look at this. Joink. Mike. Okay, there it is. So, obviously starting with number one here, Christmas Vacation. And I'll talk more about that in a second. Then How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is the 2000 version with Jim Carrey, and we got huge into that last week. That was the whole premise of last week's episode. Then The Polar Express, which a lot of people really like as well. And then the last two are White Christmas and It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, old classics, like way before our time, those classics. But they are classics nonetheless. And these last two films are showing at the Lakes Cinema up on the hill. The first three are going to be shown at the Marcus Cinema, kind of down by the William A. Irvin here. And so this got me excited, and this was another reason that I decided, like, Christmas Vacation is what this needs to be. All right, going back to cam, joink, beep, beep, beep. All right, so get this prepped. All right. So back to talking about Christmas Vacation. I think the best thing to do is to kind of just recap the franchise a little bit. I don't know how familiar with some of you are with Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation is the third film in this franchise. So, and I didn't know that for the longest time. Like, I grew up knowing Christmas Vacation. And then I'd see, cover art. You see the iconic cover art of Chevy Chase and his family, and it's designed to look kind of like a Renaissance painting, and it's cool. I didn't know that those were related films, which is really cool. So, part one came out in the 80s, as did the main three. So part one is just called Vacation, and it's Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo as Clark and Ellen Griswold. And they're going cross-country to Wally World, which is a substitute for Disney World. And they have their kids with, and they're just, it's a road trip, and it's just insanity. There's always something that happens, and it's very funny. There's a lot of touching moments. A lot of stuff hasn't quite aged well in this one or some of the further ones, but it's still a fun watch. And that is also our introduction to Randy Quaid as Cousin Eddie. And he kind of stole the show in that movie, honestly. We all have a relative kind of like Cousin Eddie. So everyone can relate to that, and it's good to see that dynamic play out. He didn't get a lot of screen time, but don't worry, they fixed that in further installments. So, Vacation came out. It's kind of the first big franchise that Chevy Chase was attached to, and it's like he is a very bankable star at this point. So eventually they move forward with the second one, which is called European Vacation, and the Griswolds won a European Vacation on a game show. And so they're just kind of going all around, London and just all over the place. A lot of colorful, kooky characters they're running into there. Now, unfortunately, no Cousin Eddie in that one. But it's a very, very fun movie as well in its own right. There's also some moments that haven't aged too well and some raunchy moments and stuff. But that's what to expect from these 80s comedies. Then, after that was a gigantic success, they greenlit Christmas Vacation. And that's the one where they stay at home, and Clark wants to have his first big Christmas vacation in the Griswold house for the first time he's hosting. So his dad comes over, and he's carrying on the tradition from his dad, his mom, and then, you know, the extended family. And of course, Cousin Eddie shows up. I'm guessing uninvited, because Clark is so shocked to see Cousin Eddie, and that he just keeps saying, Eddie? 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 And he just can't, it's great. Yeah, just everything about Christmas Vacation is so quotable, too. I had a very difficult time this morning, like writing the scripts and figuring out what bits to use where, and the teases and the sign off, and what quotes am I going to use. There's so many quotes. There's so many quotes. A fun one I didn't get to use is the blessing. What's his name? Uncle. I'm drawing a blank, but you know, he's got the stogies. Him, and then he also says at one point, you wouldn't be able to hear a semi driving through a nitroglycerin plant. That's a fun one. Anyway, too many good quotes. We could have made many an episode based on just Christmas Vacation alone. So, check out Christmas Vacation if you haven't. It is a little raunchier, so it's not for children per se. There's a lot of language and things like that, but it is a classic nonetheless. And yeah, some things haven't aged well, but it's still a classic. And if you're like me and my family, we must watch that one every year, along with A Christmas Story and Ernest Goes to Christmas, aka Ernest Saves Christmas. Those are our three holy Christmas films we have to watch every year. So there's those. Then after Christmas Vacation was a smashing success, then they made Vegas Vacation in the 90s. And they go back on another road trip, of course, to Vegas. And that was a fun one, too. I always appreciated that one growing up. That one's the one that people don't like as much, and it's the last one in that original run of films. And that kind of just put a cap on the series. And then, you know, then Chevy Chase just kind of started fading away a little bit. And, you know, he kind of hit a career lull. And there was just nothing more for the longest time. Until, this is a bad one. This is a bit of a deep cut, too. I don't know if you guys know about this. There was a sequel to Christmas Vacation called Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure, I do believe. And it was a direct-to-video, horrible thing that is kind of unwatchable. And I think that came out in 2003, if I'm correct. And that was just National Lampoon when they were just throwing out whatever they could on video, and it had to be raunchy, and you know, the college crowd they were appealing to. And it just, a lot of the stuff that they came out with at that point in time just wasn't good. And at this point, they were like, let's squeeze this a little bit. The Christmas Vacation thing, clearly it's a classic. You know, who do we have? Maybe they couldn't get Chevy Chase back, who knows? But they pursued Cousin Eddie, and it's not good. It is not good. It's a sight to behold. Watch it if you're a completionist and you want to see all the Christmas Vacation movies and the vacation movies in general, and watch it if you're a fan of Randy Quaid. I don't think it was particularly best work in Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure. There was room for improvement on all fronts, I'm sorry to say. So, again, watch that one only if you're a completionist. We'll tuck that in there. By the way, you like my tie? It's not a Christmas tie. This is a St. Patrick's Day tie. Little three-leaf clovers here. The color scheme is exactly the same, though. The trees that Clark has on his tie are the same color. So I thought that was so cool, because I was looking for a Christmas tie. I was looking for this exact one all around town, Couldn't find one with Christmas trees, but I saw this one with the same color scheme. I was like, really, that's kind of what matters. So went with that. I don't know if you noticed that this morning on the show. And then this sweater I bought fresh for this as well. Way too warm in this sweater, by the way. I'm kind of dying in this thing, so I'm going to try to wrap this up pretty soon. So anyway, I hope it gives the effect that I look like Clark Griswold here. All right, so anyway, back on track. After the 2003 direct-to-video thing, I don't believe anything else vacation related. There were some commercials and little things like that that came out. There wasn't much else vacation related that came out until the 2015 Vacation reboot that came out, starring Ed Helms, I believe, from The Office. He plays a grown-up version of Rusty who wants to relive his vacation with his family, just like in the first film. So he's taking his family cross-country to Wally World as well. And everything's new and different, and there's technology and all this stuff. And that was not bad. That was in 2015 that came out, and it wasn't terrible. It had a different vibe, different feel to it. Some people don't like it. I don't mind it. It definitely deserves a rewatch because it was its own thing, and they were trying to make it its own thing. And definitely A for effort on that part. One notable thing in Vacation is that, Chevy Chase is back briefly, as is Beverly D'Angelo, because they swing by and just say hi real quick at their place. That scene is a little forced and weird, and Chevy Chase, I don't know, he's not top of his game, and he seemed very awkward and like he was really trying his best to be funny and what he thought was being funny, and it seemed very forced and it wasn't working. That scene kind of didn't work, but obviously it's in there so that we get to see Chevy Chase many years later. It was weird, but it's very noteworthy, that part. So that is the Vacation franchise up to this point, as far as I understand it. So check them all out. Check them all out. They're all fun. There's also like a campaign of commercials that came out, and they all reunite, and that was a fun thing. So there's your Vacation recap for now. What else can we talk about here? Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. We talked about the big screen re-releases that are coming out nationwide, and there are a couple of notable omissions this year that I wanted to get into a little bit. There's a lot of good ones. In fact, Elf is playing right now, as is the 2018 Benedict Cumberbatch version of The Grinch. That's playing. Big notable omission is Home Alone this year. That does get re-released from time to time. It's weird that that one's not coming out because it's the anniversary, and there's a lot of Home Alone stuff going on this year. And like Macaulay Culkin's back, reprising his role in a series of commercials, and I believe there's like a new upgraded version of the movie coming out, and there's all this merch and stuff coming out. And yeah, it's the 35th anniversary, and that's been promoted kind of heavily throughout the year, but it's not back on the big screen, which is weird. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but that's a big omission, and I'd like to cover that at some point in the future here. Another one, A Christmas Story. That comes back to the big screen every year, that and Christmas Vacation. And this year, no Christmas Story. I maybe would have covered A Christmas Story instead of this one, because I kind of like that one a little bit more, like our memories as a family growing up and watching A Christmas Story. We all appreciate that one maybe a little bit more as kids because it stars kids and it's from the perspective of a kid. So we identified with it a little bit more. And that is also endlessly quotable. So for some reason, that one's just not on the big screen this year. I think it's because of the gamut of these other ones that came out. So, you know, maybe we'll cover that one next year because, you know, who doesn't like saying, "You'll shoot your eye out"? Always a good quote this time of year. So that one, and then also another one that's not being re-released is Ernest Goes to Christmas, aka Ernest Saves Christmas. Sometimes that's back, but the rights are kind of weird and tangled up, like Disney produced that one and they distributed that one, and it's been hard to find that one. Like, there haven't been a lot of physical media releases of that. Hopefully it's on Disney Plus, and sometimes it's on different apps, and they have some of those movies on different apps, and the rights are kind of split up. Like, Disney produced the first 4 Ernest movies, but they like really wanted to hold on to the Christmas one for some reason. So those are kind of difficult to find from time to time. I'd like a big box set on DVD. That would be great. You can find some of them on DVD scattered, but it's, you know, it's a good one. And of course, Ernest Goes to Halloween is one of my favorite movies ever. So I got to mention that. Lastly, before we end the stream here, this is a very long episode. Normally we throw it a break, but we don't have the luxury of doing that today. So I'm going to show you one quick little thing here before we head. Let's just go to full page, joink. So this is the new graphic I've designed for this particular show. Very excited to showcase this. This is a mishmash of some of my favorite career highlights thrown together with some of my favorite characters I've portrayed on this particular show over the last few months we've been doing this. It's been almost 6 months that I've been doing this show. Let's turn the bug off. Here we go. Just covering up my face there. So from the top, the very top one on the left, that is from my documentary, the Goosebumps, The Saga of Scares, where I played R.L. Stine in that one. Would this be easier if I was back on cam? Joink. Pointing at all the stuff here so you can see it. Goosebumps, The Saga of Scares. And in this one, I was just a Ghostbuster in a documentary about our team, the Twin Ports Ghostbusters. That is streaming on a few different platforms here. This guy you recognize, the King of Halloween, from the King of Halloween movie special, my most recent thing. Then here I am as Gravedigger Dave in the Gravedigger Dave series of films. And then here I am as Satan in my award-winning film, The Devil's in the Details. And you recognize all these guys. These are some of my favorite characters from the show. We have the Blues Brothers, Chucky. Underneath the title here, I have Quint from Jaws. That was always a good one. And then this was the day of the Halloween special where I was showcasing John Carpenter's Halloween back on the big screen. And then Back to the Future, just a few weeks ago, that one. And then lastly, we have a few different stills here. This is from Beyond the Northwoods, where I played the villain in that one. And then this was me playing the Flash in a commercial. This is from my short film, The King of Halloween's Scary Stories, Chapter 1. This is from my first full-length feature called Spooked in Bridgewater. And then this is a still from the Warner Brothers 2005 Charlize Theron film, North Country. With Woody Harrelson and like a whole team of A-listers, and I got to be an extra in that movie. It was my first film experience doing anything, so that was kind of a huge deal for me to kind of see how film works as they invaded my hometown, Virginia, Minnesota in 2005 and started making this movie about miners, and you know, it was a really cool experience to be part of that. I was in a few different scenes in there. If you look really close, you can see me, but that was like my claim to fame when I was in college. Like, hey, I was in this Warner Brothers movie called North Country with Charlize Theron. I got to like hang out with them a little bit and talk with Charlize Theron and Woody Harrelson and Jeremy Renner. Like, we really rubbed elbows. This was before he was, you know, Hawkeye or in a big name. It was awesome, to say the least. So those are a few of my highlights there, and this is the official graphic moving forward, I guess. I'll try to have it up in the monitor here for every streaming version of the show. And so, that concludes this gigantic episode of Movie Mondays with Matt here. To tease ahead, more Christmas-related films, more Christmas re-releases are what will be on the docket for next week. And that will be the show. So, thank you for bearing with me in this gigantic episode, everybody. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. Once again, thank you for tuning in. And until next week, stay spooky, my friends.